corporate sponsorship of the arts has grown from 136 million rand in 2001 to around 524 million rand currently. That's according to the latest report by Business and Arts South Africa. CEO of BASA, Michelle Constant, joins us now. Michelle, it's such a pleasure to have you in the studio today. That growth, is it significant? Where did you expect it over the years?
It's not enough. It's certainly not enough if you compare it to the sponsorship of sports, which is, I think that sponsorship is close on 2 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I stand to be corrected. But what is interesting about it is that that is specifically sponsorship. So we're talking there with that number about marketing budgets.
Okay.
That excludes CSI budgets.
Okay.
It also excludes the shift and change that we've seen in funding of the arts or partnerships of the arts, where we've seen a very interesting shift in some cases to HR, budgets coming out of HR and transformation and diversity. And we've seen a couple of other interesting spaces as well. So yes, the number is not as big as it could be, but if you start to expand it to other areas, pro bono, in-kind support, then it expands quite dramatically.
How much of this do you think is a reflection of a kind of a change in perceptions of sponsors and funders of the ROI in the arts?
You know, I think that there is a massive change. I think that certainly when I started at Business and Arts South Africa, which was just under a decade ago, we had seen this shift out of funding from the CSI budgets to the marketing budgets. Then around about 2009, there was the economic sort of meltdown, if you want to call it that. And of course, marketing budgets shrunk, so sponsorship in those areas changed. What we have seen, and particularly in some of the larger banking, the financial sector, is an interesting engagement with the arts, which is coming out of their strategy. Okay. So it's an internal strategy, and it's not simply a department funding a specific thing. And I think that's very, very exciting. I think that we are seeing an engagement with the arts. We're certainly seeing more and more businesses realizing that creativity and innovation and imagination is really important, and those are the spaces where they can engage with those ideas.
And what about consumers? How do they perceive businesses that do invest in the arts?
So that's a very interesting one. So we run something called Arts Track, and that's where we research what the public are doing every 2 years. So we've done it for 14 years now. Yeah. And we are seeing a difference in the way the public feel around the arts. So they feel that they would rather support a business that is supporting the arts in some cases, and that is sponsoring the arts. They're very, very interested, for example, in the music sector, more so than anything else.
Yeah, why is that, do you think?
I suppose because music is an easy way to engage. It's also an easy form to sponsor as well. Yeah. Although what we are seeing is that the sponsorship is shifting slightly out of music per se and more into multidisciplinary areas and festivals. And that obviously means that we're seeing theatre, dance, music, etc., all being covered in festivals in a way that we haven't seen it in the past.
Are some business sectors more generous than others?
Definitely. Without a doubt, the financial sector is categorically the most impressive. 25% of all sponsorship comes from the financial sector. Okay. And I mean, we can just look at the last, we know that FNB, for example, sponsors the Joburg Art Fair. Yeah. We know that Investec have just sponsored the Cape Town Art Fair. RMB have just come on board with the Turbine Art Fair. Nedbank have their Affinity Arts and Culture Trust. Yeah. ABSA have one of the oldest awards in the country. Standard Bank has the Young Artist Award and the Jazz Festival and the Jazz Festival at the Standard Bank Festival. Yeah. So they really are doing amazing, amazing work in that case.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks for your time. Today, Michelle Constant is CEO of BASA.